After starring in The Substance, Margaret Qualie is back on the big screen in Honey Don't. Let's talk about it.
You're fascinating.
And you haven't even seen the riddle tattooed on my ass.
Alright, so this is directed by Ethan Coen, and this is his follow-up to Drive Away Dolls from a couple years ago, a movie that I really didn't like at all, and a lot of audiences also didn't like, as that movie only made $8 million on an $8 million budget, so that movie didn't end up doing very well at the box office. So I went into this one with some pretty low, I would say very, very low expectations, because as I said, I did not like Drive Away Dolls. I really walked away from that movie just kind of hating it. And so I got done watching this from the theater and I'm like, wow, another Ethan Coen miss. What's new these days? I mean, this one really isn't that much better than Drive Away Dolls. I'd say it's a little bit better, but I'm still so confused and concerned for Ethan Coen because, you know, the Coen brothers as a duo, they're electric. They're amazing. You know, they brought us movies like Fargo. No Country for Old Men is one of my favorite movies of all time. But once they split up, you know, they started doing their own thing. I think Ethan Coen is clearly missing his brother a lot in his work, and it truly shows. I'm confused how Focus Features keeps giving him money for these movies because, you know, Driveway Dolls, as I said, really didn't make any profit. It wasn't, you know, critically successful at all. And Honey Don't, I'm not sure what its Rotten Tomatoes is, but I don't think it's going to be critically positive at all either. I don't think audiences are really going to connect with this one. And financially, I've heard that this one has even bigger budget than the last one. So I think that this one is going to lose money for Focus Features also. So hopefully they earn back that money on Yorgos Lanthimos Begonia later this year. And supposedly, I don't know if this is 100% true, but I've read that this is only the second movie in Ethan Coen's new kind of lesbian trilogy, it's being called. I'm not sure if that's true, but, you know, it's kind of all lining up because Margaret Qualley was in Driveway Dolls as the main lead. This one has the main lead. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is one more movie, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it's canceled because these movies just are not good. Before I get to the bad, I will discuss, you know, some of the highlights, the small highlights, and I'd say, you know, the cinematography is pretty good at times. I really like some of the shot choices that went with, you know, there's some really cool eye shots focusing on someone's eyes and someone walks in and like to the frame and you can see them in the eye from back. That's a really cool shot. I like how they went with that. There's some cool reverse shots in this too. Really like the lighting on this movie. I thought it just looked pretty great overall. And I will say, Chris Evans delivers a phenomenal performance here. You know, he's not in the movie a lot, but I'd say this is probably his best performance since Knives Out. It was giving me Knives Out Chris Evans vibes, and I was like, this is great. I love me a Chris Evans villain. I know people don't like The Gray Man, but I think he's a terrific villain in that movie. So yeah, I think Chris Evans is finally getting back into some great performances. I wouldn't say he's getting back into great movies because this one wasn't great, but still he had Materialist early this year, which I thought was great and another great performance by him. So I'm really liking what he's been doing, you know, this past year. I think last year he had a good movie too. But yeah, he's easily the best part of this movie. Probably the worst part about this movie is the storyline. I honestly don't understand what Ethan Coen was trying to do here, because it's basically, you know, a plot synopsis of this is that, you know, Honey O'Donoghue and Margaret Qualley is like a private detective. She investigates, you know, these deaths, people are dying, and she investigated into this church that Chris Evans runs. And, you know, you think they're going to connect, you know, pretty deeply to the end of the movie. Without spoiling anything, nothing really connects by the end of the movie. Nothing really happens. It honestly is like I'm watching short stories, or I don't want to be rude, but it's kind of like I'm watching a student film at times. I just don't really understand. This story is not cohesive at all. I mean, I would watch Honey Don't over Driveway Dolls, but I'd honestly like the story of Driveway Dolls more than this movie. It's honestly weird to say that, but the story just didn't make sense of what was going on. And another bad thing here is the pacing. It's the same as Driveway Dolls. They're both, I think, under 90 minutes. But Lord have mercy, they're the longest 90 minutes that I've had to sit through in, you know, this whole year. Driveway Dolls felt long for a very short movie. and this one probably felt like the longest movie I'm going to watch this year. And guess what? I'm going to be watching Avatar Fire and Ash this year, which is going to be 3.5 hours, and that's probably going to be shorter than this. That's probably going to feel shorter than this, and this one was only an hour and 29 minutes. I don't know what's going on with the pacing of these movies, but it's just not working at all. Talking about our other cast, we got Margaret Qualie, as I said. I think that she's pretty good in this and Drive Away Dolls, but I don't care for her character. I just don't think there's enough development going on with her. I don't think there's enough, story with her characters. And I just overall, I feel like me watching The Substance last year and just seeing how well, her character was done in that movie, and she was only like half of that movie. And I thought, I just think it's a little disappointing, the use of her in this movie. Aubrey Plaza also has just a very disappointing role with her character. It goes kind of to some odd places. And Charlie Day, I love Charlie Day. I feel like he's just so hilarious. I watched Fist Fight the other day, very underrated comedy. But yeah, this one, he's just in the movie to simp to Margaret Quallie's character. Like, he's always asking her out, and she's like, I like girls. And that's basically all he's doing in this movie. It honestly just felt a little odd. And there's some decisions at the end of the movie where I was like, if you're going to do this to a character, then it's not good. It's not a good decision here, especially when that's your best character in the movie. So yeah, overall, Honey Don't is another miss from Ethan Coen. I feel like someone needs to tell Joel to help Ethan, because I don't know what he's doing. He's spiraling out of control here. I know some people might like this. Some people I know like Drive Away Dolls. But I'm just going to say both of them are just not good movies in my eyes. Chris Evans, easily the best part about this movie. Margaret Qualley, she's decent, but I feel like she needs to get out of these movies because she was so much better in The Substance. I'd love to see her in another horror movie. But yeah, I didn't like this one, much. So I'd probably give Honey Don't a low 4 out of 10. I hope you all enjoyed my review. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, as it is free to do so and it helps me out a lot. And also, if you ended up seeing Honey Don't, leave your own thoughts down below in the comments. If you enjoyed it, let me know. If you also didn't like it, let me know. I'd love to talk about it down below in the comments. But that's going to be it for today's review. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.